Good evening, everyone. It's me, Morgan, your reigning Miss Gay Pennsylvania America 2023. Welcome in tonight on the live. It's the Let's Get Down to Excellence this evening. This is episode 2. I am so excited that we are round 2. So make sure you hit that like button and share. We want to bring everyone in on the fun. We want to find those future contestants and we want to bring those future fans as well as the current contestants and the current fans in on all of the fun. So once again, my name is Miss Morgan. I'm so nice they named me thrice, and I'm your reigning Miss Gay Pennsylvania America 2023. So this evening, what we're going to talk about is the interview portion of the pageantry that comes to the MGA system, which is the Miss Gay America system. Before we get into that, I want to do a little bit of the needs to know about what's going on with the Miss Gay Pennsylvania America system, because it's always good to talk about the in-nows. Coming up this Sunday, I'm super excited, which is April 28th, I think. I don't even know what day it is, but that's okay, because I'm just so excited about the pageant that's happening this weekend in New Hope, Pennsylvania. We have some open slots if you're interested in competing. Definitely reach out if you'd like. But we have our fabulous crown just came in as well. So I'm so excited to be placing that on our first contestant as well as our first alternate for our Miss Gay Pennsylvania pageant that's going to be happening on November 16th this year. So definitely look out for all those fun details. But we also, if you haven't checked out and heard last time, we do have on our website, which is the Miss Gay Pennsylvania America website, merch. And we were talking about it last time, but now we're upping the ante. We're adding more merch. We have t-shirts, we have tank tops, we have hats now. And if you're able to come to the Miss New Hope pageant, we also are going to be launching some other new fun merch for the Pennsylvania system. We have Stanley toppers. You'll have to come see them just to find out what they really are, because I know Stanley is the craze right now. We have enamel pins. We have car coasters. No idea what that is either, but we're going to find out together when you come to the pageant. Luggage tags and patches too. So lots of fun things to really represent our state. So we have that. We also, I wanted to announce that it's official that next Friday, date of next Friday is a really great idea to know that. But next Friday in Philadelphia at Cockatoo at 8 p.m., we are doing a benefit to raise money for the Philadelphia region. So definitely, if you're in the Philadelphia region or you want to come in and say hello and support the fellow sisters, please come to Cockatoo at 8 p.m. It's a $5 coverage, and they're going to have raffles with prizes and a whole lot of fun. I'll be there too. So let's have a glass. Last but certainly not least, I just want to plug real quick, just to foreshadow, we're going to have an episode 3, which will be covering talent, I believe. Gown, just kidding, Gown. And that will be on May 9th. And I believe it's Andorra, but I will give you more information on that later on. But I'm very excited tonight. We have the one, the only, a fabulous former of MGA of 2022. We have Dextacy. So make sure you give her a round of applause when you see her on this wonderful screen of mine. I also made sure I made it nice and relaxing for her too, because she probably worked all day or really kicked butt in the gym today too, because you know that girl's looking fierce. So put your hands together, because we can hear you all the way from live. So clap and scream really loud. Give it up for Miss Dextacy. Hello
Hi.
there, darling.
Hi.
It's good to see you. Thank you for joining me tonight.
You too. I'm excited to be here with you all.
Yes, it's super exciting. I just, I get really excited and passionate when we talk about the MGA system and, how everything looks for a future contestant as well as contestants that are returning. I think it's important because there's a lot of different categories, and breaking them down and really showing everyone what the nitty gritties are so that can help them moving forward is something that I'm just excited to do. So tonight we're going to be doing interview, and I think you like to talk a little bit. So I think this is going to be a good one for you.
Just a little bit.
I love it. I love it so much. So why don't do we just want to jump in, or do you want to say hello to everybody and tell them what you've been up to? Because I know that last year you were a former last year as opposed to stepping down. So what was that like for you?
Definitely. Hello everybody out there that doesn't know who I am, but if you're watching this, you probably are very much familiar with Miss Gay America. As Morgan said, kind of the change from the reigning to the forever side, it really is so different. Um, when you compete for so long and you want something for so long and then it happens, and then literally overnight you're on the other side. It's so different. There's not necessarily as much stress, but sometimes the job and the buck never stops. When you do have a busy year or a year where you worked your tail end off, sometimes you reap the benefits of that. So it's still been busy. There's lots of good drag around the country. Miss Gay New Hope is on the books. It's so exciting. Everywhere's thriving, and here we are thriving for Pennsylvania.
We love that, and thank you for supporting as well. And you obviously know how much everybody loves you. And if you don't, I'm telling you now, everybody loves you. Loves you. So anyway, so tonight we're going to be getting into the nitty. Last episode, our first episode, we had Tatiana here, and she went through a lot of preparation and looking for what prelim would be best for you and what's the best fit, and just how to really get yourself started in the process in our system. So of course, going through now, this is the big day. We're there. We've made it. We've filled out our application X, Y, and Z, and now it's time to start the first part of the day. And just a little foreshadow: when you do come and compete, you do your orientation and registration. They give you the whole rundown of the day, but after that is the start of the scoring part of the pageant day, which is the interview section.
Mm-hmm.
We call it personal interview, which is lovely, and which is great because it should show you that this is your time to show who you really are, and you're in this interview and you're applying for a job. So I broke it down a little bit for us to talk about tonight, and I wanted to start and just kind of see where your head is at when it comes to, professionally dressed, because that's the first part. You got to prepare for the job and what you're going to look like when you walk through those doors, because this is their first thing that the judges are going to see.
Definitely. So when it comes to professionally dressed, luckily with the Miss Gay America pageant system, we're definitely changing. We're not as traditional as we used to be. So with that, you need to make sure that when we say professionally dressed, you want to make sure first and foremost that you have a very business look to you, regardless of what you walk in the door with. Is it professional? Are you presentable? Would somebody look at you and go, okay, I would like them to do the press conference of my product? That is something you need to think about. Regardless if you're wearing a full suit or something super nice, it has to be professional in every aspect.
Sure. So one thing that I kind of was noticing too, like a good cue is don't bring anything distracting on your body. Like, don't come in with a big old hat or anything. I was thinking that, you don't want to bring your cell phones and your purses or bags or whatever, unless there's a purpose for it.
Right.
But you don't want anything that's distracting.
For sure. Like, when it comes to stuff distracting, you can live without your cell phone for 8 minutes, because I doubt you're going to want to answer it in the interview room. And there's nothing more distracting when you're judging a pageant. When you look down and you're, listening to the contestant and there's just this huge cell phone print. It's like, really?
Mm-hmm. Not even better would be if it lit up while it's in their pocket.
Brr, brr.
Yeah. You're like, what is that? Who knows? Who's to say what that is?
Something's vibrating.
Fireplace, just all I have to say. So with that being said, you have your business outfit on, and what are your thoughts about the fit of the outfit as far as like what it should look like on you?
Absolutely. So that is one part of the interview process that always was a huge part of my loss in scoring. So there are skinny people, there are bigger people, there are people that are in between. So my advice is, when you walk into the interview room, you need to make sure that the pants have a good break at the bottom. You need to make sure that the coat, if you are wearing one, that whatever you're wearing is not too tight and not too loose. You definitely want to make sure that you are going to a tailor. There is a difference in a tailor versus somebody that is making your drag costumes. Now, some people may be skilled enough to do both, but most of the time, the person that has an eye for the costume may sometimes not be your best bet for the person that's in charge of tailoring your suit. You also need to make sure that when it comes to the fit, the majority of your interview is done sitting down. Now, mind you, when you walk in, it does need to look nice, but keep in mind when you sit down for 7 to 8 minutes, that's truly the part where they're looking at you over and over to look for something.
Mhm.
Not a judge isn't going to be pulling you apart, but they're staring at you sitting down versus standing up. So
Sure.
you need to make sure that when you are going to the tailor, that you're not only looking the part standing up, that you're also looking at how well tailored or how nicely tailored it is in sitting down posture.
Sure. That's a very good point. So you have your perfect fit outfit, you feel like $1,000,000 in it. What about as far as grooming, hair, facial hair, anything like that? What do the judges usually look for when it comes to that?
Definitely. I think hair, there's guys that have long hair. Haha, Miss Pennsylvania. There's guys that have shorter hair. So starting with hair, if you're a guy that has shorter hair like me, cool. Just make sure a week or so before the pageant to possibly get a haircut to make sure that you look your absolute best when you're in interview. But also for guys that have longer hair, and for many years I had a ponytail down my back. So when it comes to like longer hair, you want to still make sure that it's nicely groomed. When I did Miss Louisiana years ago, a judge had suggested a George Washington ponytail, which is a ponytail that is in the back lower middle, like a
Mhm.
traditional low ponytail. And you also want to make sure that if you are restraining your hair with like a ponytail, that it's not a crazy color.
Mm.
That's not the time to experiment with a color scrunchie that's different than your suit. So, like if I'm wearing a navy suit, chances are I probably should use a navy ponytail holder
Right.
or get one that's in your natural hair color. So, um, I think it's also important that if you do have long hair and you are wearing it down for interview, sometimes a judge may get a little bit misconstrued and going, okay, they have longer hair and it's all over the place. I wonder if they have an issue with their collar or their lapel. So
Sure.
it's something that can make a judge even look at you harder with what lies beneath. So I've always been under the assumption if you do have longer hair, you can wear it down, but it just should look impeccable if it's
100%. And when you have it down, I find too, especially because I have long hair too, your hair can get caught in like your pin, or it could be distracting, or you might want to play with it or whatever during your interview. So you got to definitely be mindful of that. So usually I like to do that poker straight back hair.
absolutely. And when it comes to facial hair, sometimes you have to, there's an advertisement aspect to interview as well. It's very, you're trying to sell them a product.
Mhm.
Um, so, as we all know, there's always people that are going to be in these pageants that think that because they grow their facial hair out or they take 2 weeks off before the pageant, that having this full beard or this more masculine approach to interview accrues them more points, which is not the case at all. Now, do I love a nice beard? Absolutely. Is it required on my score sheet that you're clean shaven? No. But you kind of have to think about something. If you're going into interview and talking all this talk about your booked, your relevancy, the product, the travel, that you're ready to hit the ground running.
Mhm.
Well, if you're so booked, relevant, and blessed, why do you have such facial hair on
Why is
when
your
you
hair down to your, yeah,
you know so it's kind of one of those things. So
sure.
those are things to be mindful. And yeah.
Sure. So a couple other notes that I was just even just because I know we're just getting even scratching the surface of, we haven't even walked in the room yet.
Oh,
But I know, right? We're just getting dressed.
right.
But just cologne. What are your like, wear it, don't wear it, a
um
whisper, maybe not.
I think wear it. Obviously you want to have a taste level to it. You want to make sure that just like your suit, just like a talent costume, that you're definitely getting opinions on the cologne you're wearing. You
Yeah.
don't want to, walk into a room and it be so strong that it
Yeah.
makes them want to gag, but you want to
Yeah.
have something when you walk into the room. Maybe a judge's blood starts boiling and they go, oh, now this person, even before they open their mouth, they smell the part. They look rich. I mean, they smell rich. Um, it just helps. It's a good vibe because every time that I hug or I'm around somebody that has a good cologne, I have a
Uh-huh.
I have a different appreciation for that.
Sure.
I'm like, oh wow, they smell good.
Is there a certain scent that is a rich smelling scent that
Oh my God, there's so many.
just
Um, I like so many.
and you know what? To each his own. Everyone has their own favorite smells, right? So
Paris Hilton.
plug, yes, thank you, Paris. We'll see you at the Miss Gay New Hope pageant, just to let you know.
That's right.
So okay, so and just last thing, just I want to wrap up too with this just coming in before you even get in the room. Just make sure I always say have your jacket buttoned, definitely the top part, because like any reveal, you want to reveal what's underneath, right? So then you want to look put together, keep that, what is that? 3?
So that's the rule of three.
Yes, if you want to share that, I would love that.
Absolutely. So in the jacket world, suit world, there's usually two buttons, sometimes three. So if there's three buttons, always, sometimes, never,
Mhm.
versus the two button, always, sometimes. So always that top one, always, sometimes, never.
Yeah.
David Green, that he's a promoter here in Louisiana.
Thanks, David. We love you.
Yes.
Okay, so here we go. We're about to it's the time we're walking. They said you're up next, Ecstasy, to do your 7-minute interview, personal interview with the judges. So we're about to they open the door and we're walking in, and you see there's a panel of judges there. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 5. It just depends on the prelim or state that you're at. So when you walk in, do you just walk in and just casually walk to the chair? Because there's always a chair there in front of the judges, because this is an interview. Do we just walk in? Do you just
Yeah. So
cartwheel in?
I don't cartwheel. Um, when I usually walk in, every second that when that door opens, that is your opportunity as a contestant to convince them that you're the one for the job. So what I always like to do is have, when you walk in smiling, it looks very Jack Nicholson from Batman and fake. So I always had a pleasant look on my face when I walked into the door, but when I had a chance to make eye contact, then a smile lit up on my face. So that way they know you're human,
Sure.
that you're not a robot going into the interview. And then I always had this friendly way of going, hey, how are y'all today? But I'm saying, hey, how are y'all today as I'm walking to the chair.
Mhm.
Because those that are familiar with the Miss Gay America pageant system, sometimes it's very awkward when the door opens and you're making that long 5 minute, it feels like 5 minute walk to the chair. You
Sure.
feel like every eye is on you. You feel like everything is just glaring at you. So I feel that, hey, how are y'all today? Something like a salutations or a greeting is really a good way to kind of not only
Sure. Break
to
the ice a little bit.
break the ice. Yeah.
Mm. A lot of people I find talk and ask the question, do you go up and shake the judge's hands? Do you stand by the chair? Do you sit in the chair? I know it's very like, I guess, person by person, how you want to, if you want to shake the judge's hands or not. But as a nurse by day, I always make sure I say, make sure you ask the judges to shake their hand. Don't just assume, because you want to make sure you got the clean hands, and everybody's a little bit different, especially after the pandemic, about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So my personal, like when I competed, I always kind of hovered by the chair, and I didn't necessarily shake the judges' hands at the beginning of the interview, because sometimes you'll walk into a pageant and you'll know all five judges,
Mhm.
but then you also walk into pageants where you don't know any of the judges. So I kind of went a more consistent route and did my warm greeting, and I kind of hovered at the chair until the head judge kind of broke the ice and said, "Have a seat. Tell us a bit about yourself."
Yeah.
Because I don't know you and you don't know me at
Mhm.
the beginning of the interview. So I save my handshaking for the end, but also ask permission because of the germs and,
Sure.
the pandemic that we're coming out of.
Because then you'll see me coming behind you with the sanitizer.
Wax on, wax off.
Hey, I'm just saving a life one pump at a time. So you were saying that you hover. I know. So you hover around the chair,
Mhm.
right? So you're hovering around the chair, you said. But why did you say that? Because they instruct you to stand by the chair, right? And then I liked what you mentioned, because one of the judges, usually sometimes the head judge, will invite you to sit down and tell you a little bit about yourself, right? So you have your jacket buttoned, you shook their hands, you said hello, and you're about to sit down. What is the proper etiquette on sitting down, and how should you position yourself?
So again, there's always that awkwardness when you're undoing your button.
Mhm.
So a good time to start getting that button out of the way is when you are approaching the chair. So, hey, how are y'all? And kind of as they're, hey, how are you? That's your opportunity to unbutton as you're going to the chair,
Mhm.
because that's also a very weird spot. It's kind of like somebody is watching you get undressed.
Sure.
When have a seat, tell us a bit about yourself. It's always this awkward business conference when it's this just moment of unbuttoning. It's like, this is weird. Okay, that took 5 seconds and I don't like it. I always button on the way to the chair because I'm not wasting time on a stupid button.
I love that. But you know what? That's good advice for someone that doesn't, they need a little direction on what they're doing. And instead of getting caught up about doing the button and then introducing yourself at the same time, and you're wearing about 4 different things and your cologne smells really bad. So like, you're like, what do? You're all distracted. Just do it before you get to the chair. And I like that.
Right.
Um, so I think we covered that. We talked about the briefcase. Don't bring it in. Okay. So you're about to introduce yourself, right? Because they give you that crisp moment to just have that second. And I say second because you don't want to go too long with your intro, because this interview is for them to ask you the questions and move forward. But so when you introduce yourself, some of the things that I just jotted down is obviously say your name. You also say you're known as the performer of whomever your name is as a performer. And then I always like to recommend 3 to 5 facts about yourself. So if you want to kind of
Yeah. So
looking for the intro.
I feel that the intro is probably, it is the most important part of the interview, because that is where they get to truly know what aspect they're going to approach you in this interview, to get to know you to the best of their ability.
Mhm.
Obviously, you want to give your name, um, the stage performer illusion that you go by, 3 to 5 facts about yourself. And when I say facts about yourself, when you go into interview and you go, hi, my name is John Doe. I create the illusion of Susie Q. I have a dog and a husband, and I work as a such and such by day, and I create such and such at night. Great.
Yeah,
That's cool, but that's very normal.
right.
So you want to make sure that the things that you're putting in your interview bio are very much ways to separate yourself in a fascinating way versus the girl before you and after you of your interview. So,
Sure.
like, for me, for example, I always went in there and told them about, when I was growing up in junior high and high school, that I grew up in competitive voice and that I was a part of the American Choral Directors Association and that I was a registered thespian, not a lesbian. Um, that I sang in Carnegie Hall. So that way, when I gave them these interesting facts after the bio was over, they're kind of like, I don't even know where I want to go with this person. So you give them a lot. And
Sure.
the best format for a bio, make it about 45 seconds to a minute. You want to put fun facts in there about you. You want to really have an understanding of who you are, where you've been, and where you intend to go. And so that way it can help you create this good bio of a past, a present, and a future. So that way, when a judge has finally heard your bio, they're just very like, okay, I don't even know where to go.
Right.
They've been so direct with me, and that sometimes can make a judge go, okay, I dig this person already, and I haven't even
Sure.
asked him.
Sure. What I kind of like to look at it too is you're kind of setting the tone for what you want to talk about, or you want to kind of show the judges of what you want to be asked. So then this way, because you want them to want more, and that's
Yeah.
why you're saying make it interesting, make it different, make it fun, which I
Mhm.
like. And then also keep it short, because this
Yeah.
is the moment just to give them a whisper, a highlight of you.
Right.
So okay, so you've introduced yourself. They've already loved you because obviously you're a thespian and XYZ. And so now they go into the question part. So I know now with the questions, the judges are in front of you, you're sitting there, and you obviously are allowing them to ask you the questions. I find that for myself, my goal is to answer the questions clearly and fully, but as quickly as possible so I can move on to the next question, because I want the judges to know as much as they possibly can. And sometimes we go on different directions that I didn't even know we were going to go on, but we always kind of circle back to my main points that I want to focus on of my tone of the interview. So can you talk a little bit about maybe let's start talking about first, like about the body language and how to answer the questions and the appropriateness of that?
For sure. So, like when a judge asks you the question, you need to pay full attention to that judge. If it's the middle judge, pay attention to them as they're giving you that question. But when you're delivering your answer, it's okay to play the fan in the room. That fan, that oscillating fan, I think that's the name. I don't remember.
You're
Whatever.
right. You're right.
You want to make sure that when you're delivering your answer that you're making eye contact with all 5 of them. So that way you keep them engaged and they feel like they're a part of the conversation, not just me and this judge.
Sure.
When it comes to body language, you want to make sure that you don't have nervous tics or that you're patting and you're using your arms too much. Now, if you're the type of person where what you're delivering does require all of that motion in the ocean, that's fine. But if you're more of an emotional interviewer like I am, probably bringing in the planes on the runway is probably not the best bet. So if you're trying to compensate for how fancy your interview isn't, doing this and all of that's not going to help. So I think a judge really would appreciate more of, keeping your hands on your knees or legs and just kind of having a peaceful conversation without all the distracting of the Delta Air flying in.
100%. I completely agree. So I love how you talked about the eye contact, because I think that's most important, because you're engaging with people that you're interviewing with and you're going to be with them all day and let them see who you really are. As I just did it, as you're thinking about your next statement, try not to say the ums, the likes, and the us, because it's hard. I know, and it's hard, and that's why I find for myself, who's currently trying, as I'm going through the process of the system and going through all these interviews, I try to make sure I practice the questions and practice questions and know what my mission statements are and have a little bit more knowledge about, like you said, myself. So then I stand there with confidence and I can say what I want to say without the ums, the likes, and the ahs, because
for sure. And if you feel that that you are an person or a like, and you know that whatever that judge just asked you, you're going to be kind of lost, it's okay to say, can you repeat that again? Because a judge isn't going to think anything of it, but it's just giving you a second chance to get wind of that question one more good time before you go into it. So it's kind of like a security blanket.
Sure. I wish you would have saved that one just for me. That was a good little gem right there.
Yeah.
But no, that's a really good one. See, now I'm going to be saying it all night, and I'm going to be thinking about my ums and the ahs. So when you're going through the interview, we talked about, you want to make sure you show a little bit about yourself, but it's also, I find that judges are looking for other things, not just the fun, fabulous self that you are, but is there other things that judges might be looking for in the interview for the MGA system?
Oh, for sure. So as everybody knows, when you come into the Miss Gay America pageant system, there is a 80-page handbook. And at one time, not that it's a bad thing, but at one time, that's really what made Miss America. Who knew the rules? Who knew the regulations? All of that good stuff. But none of that has changed. When you go into this interview, you need to make sure that you have read the instruction manual. It's just as important as anything else. So when you're going into your interview, you not only want to be fun, approachable, emotional, vulnerable, you also need to make sure that these people have an understanding of the business person that you can be. Can you handle pressure? Can you not be one of those people that goes on Facebook rants? Can you have emotional control? You need to have a very much a business mindset of being like a corporate, like a director of operations, but you also need to be the person that can bake cookies and bring them over during the holidays. So it's a hard balance, but you need to be able to try to show those two sides of yourself in that interview. Can you follow the rules and regulations, but also can you be that approachable, nice, wholehearted person.
Sure. Can you talk a little bit about more of like the briefly just talk about the administration side of being a part of the MGA system, and as one would dream to be the next Miss Gay America. So are they looking for things administrationally wise? I don't even know if that's a word, but as far as like
For sure. They're definitely, when you are Miss Gay Pennsylvania America, potentially Miss Gay America, 99.999 repeating decimal percent of your job is this.
mhm,
Again, while the glitz and glamour can really, I hate to say it, come a dime a dozen, the majority of the job and the organization that it takes to reign does come from personal interactions with contestants, promoters, you name it. So when it comes to administration, judges are schooled nowadays not to go, can you please provide me with the point breakdown of evening gown? That's ridiculous, because that's like a flashcard. Anybody can tell you that. Anybody can memorize that. This is not a history question or name the capitals of the 50 states.
mhm,
That is a textbook answer. It is public knowledge. So when it comes to administrative, you want to make sure that when you're giving them answers, that it's clear, that there is an understanding, that not only can the most educated person understand you, but can somebody that may not be as educated understand you as well. Again, you have to be somebody that people can relate to in all aspects. So
100%.
administrative wise, do you seem organized in the interview? Do you look put together in the interview? Just from speaking, you can truly get to know somebody and go, this is going to be a disaster, or this is definitely going to be a person that can contribute to the longevity of the contest rather than hindering it.
Sure. Sure. I closing up the part with the how to answer questions. Can you touch a little bit about what do you think the balance is between being too personal and maybe a little bit too professional and administrative? Like, is how like some people come in, maybe they know the 80 some pages from covereth to covereth.
Mhm.
I think there's only one person I know that knows it covereth to covereth, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But some people may think that they have to come in and recite the whole handbook. Some people may come in too casually and think that they're just hanging out with their friends and having a conversation. So, what is appropriate? What's not appropriate? How do we find a balance for that?
Yeah, so it really depends on, again, how you set that tone for your bio. I feel that if you give them no substance, a judge isn't going to be interested. And so they may just ask you textbook, give us 3 administrative duties, things like that. So you want to make sure that when you get asked a question, you are there to be Miss Gay Pennsylvania as well as the next Miss Gay America. So you always need to find a way, whether it's an administrative delivery or a more personal delivery, how do you bring it back full circle to contributing to the success of the pageant?
Sure.
If it's an emotional type question or a personal, how do I take this and bring it back home run to Miss Gay America? Or if I have to blow the socks off of you, how do I bring that back in a business way to being Miss Gay America? Um,
Sure.
I I did take the LaWanda Jackson workshop the year before I won, and that's what LaWanda really helped me do, was really bring my answers and substance were always good, but sometimes they were just open ended. So where I find success in my interviews was taking her advice and, again, bringing it back full circle. We're not there to see who the next mechanic is or who the next TV anchor is. We're there to see who the next Miss PA is or Miss America. Bring it
Sure.
back full circle each and every time.
I
That
love it.
way, knows you're not getting rid of. I can't get
Sure.
rid of her.
Can you just quickly talk about Lawanda real quick? And if it's someone who's watching that wants, that is competing or wants to compete, and this is maybe not their strongest area of the pageantry system, how can they find Lawanda or get into, or are they still doing?
Oh yeah. I believe LaWanda has always taken in interview clients. And even if you are somebody that's top-notch interviewer, whatever, and you've done that, I'm not sure how prices vary. I think it depends on how many classes and things you're wanting to take. I
Mhm,
always had a decent interview, but I bought into the LaWanda workshop to have a more sincere and personal approach to my interview. I
sure.
was very administrative. I knew it, and I would come in there and spit it out at you, and it always made a judge go, She knows the job, but there's no warmness to her. She's very cold.
Hmm.
So that's why I took the Lawanda class. She's always taking clients. If you want to get in touch with her, um, get through Morgan. That can get through me, and we can get you get you connected to Lawanda. Because I didn't win interview after Lawanda's class, but I feel that it really helped put me over the edge in my personal life, personal growth, and lane at Miss America. That when I walked out of the interview, I went, "It's finally enough." I feel
That's
so good.
fabulous. I love that. And and you know what? That's also motivating for other people too, and inspiring for other people too.
For
Because, you know,
sure.
talking in front of a panel of people and opening your heart up to them, and it's very nerve-wracking, it's very challenging. And, you know, not everyone just has that knack of communicating with people. They have to really practice at it. And that's what it is. Practice makes perfect. And I always say read the handbook too. But
Oh, yes. Oh, I can't.
always. So I know I love chatting with you, but we're running a little over, which is fine. I can chat with you all night, and we can stay on live all night if you want to. I mean, I have nothing else to do, but no, but I love it. So you had a great interview. You answered all the questions. We went through a million questions in 7 minutes, and the judges were just blown away by you. So at the very end of your interview, the head judge or a judge will say to you, is there anything else that you want to leave us with or tell us before we end this interview? What are your thoughts about that part of the interview?
Yeah, so just as strong and important that the intro is, your closing needs to be just as powerful, if not more powerful. And the reason why I say that is sometimes in interview, things can go left field, and you're going to try to beat yourself up for it for the remainder of the interview. And then when you leave the interview room, you're going to beat yourself up and think that you've lost the pageant, which is not the case at all. So my advice is when they say, "Oh, that knock indicates it's time to wrap up the interview. Is there anything you want to leave us with?" That is your time to seal the deal. You definitely want to ask in some form or fashion for the job. You want to have that very businessy type closing, but you also want to make sure that when you are closing the interview, that you leave them on such an emotional high that they want more of you. And you want to put that in their mouth, because they're going to want to be a fan of you the next time they see you in gown or
Mhm.
talent or whatever the case is. So if you didn't get something out in your interview, such as that important fundraising platform, or that story about an inspirational mother or grandmother, or something that would have been the turning point for your interview, that's where you need to do it. And the main focus of the closing is when you leave the room, a judge should go, "I want her."
Mhm.
That is the person that needs to be the title holder. Now, mind you, you still got 4 other categories to go. So hopefully that helps pull the weight. But interview can truly change the trajectory of your pageant journey.
Sure, I love that. Yeah, it's literally it's your closing thoughts. It's you. And I love how you said the biggest thing is you should already know your mission going into that room. And if it did not get covered during that interview, this is your time to talk about your mission and what you're there for and why you want that job.
Absolutely.
So I love that. So they loved it. They thanked you. You blew them away. They want you, Dex,
Hmm.
to see you as next Miss Gay America. So it's time for you to get up, right? So what do you do? And get up.
So
Skedoodle.
as a contestant, if you're somebody that, you know, you got it, the point across and everything, you know, a lot of people go, "You want to leave us with anything?" People truly take that, and it's so generic, like paying the cover charge at the pageant. A lot of contestants that are new and sometimes seasoned ones will say, "Well, I want to thank you for your time, judges, and I'm so excited to showcase what I have for you." Well, duh. And I promise you, the judges have been thanked and paid. They're going to hear, "Can't wait to show you what I've prepared for you," 500 times.
Mhm.
So, again, don't waste your time with the obvious. Take control and suck the air out of the room. And also, a lot of contestants get this is a very important one for me. When a contestant is closing out, and they go, as a judge, what are you looking for? While I may tell you that, it's kind of offsetting, because there's an 80-page handbook and a phenomenal state title holder and formers that have provided you with all the tools necessary to tell you what we're looking for. Because as a judge, we're going to say, somebody that's consistent in all categories. And sometimes it's a very awkward position, because now look, a judge is talking and taking your time in interview. So I would never put a judge on the spot and go, what are y'all looking for? We're looking for the next title holder, but you may not be sure of yourself if you're asking that.
Right. I agree. So it just made me think of something too, just because with all the interviewing and the questions and stuff like that, is there any tricks that you may give to everyone that's watching about maybe setting the tone of, is there a way to help navigate that with the judges as well, instead of letting the judge, because you're saying at the end you're taking the control, suck the air out of the room, but can you do that during your interview as well, and taking control of the interview as well?
For sure. You had touched on it earlier about being vulnerable. So if you are a person that feels that the tears are coming and that you can't hold back from whatever emotion is coming out, let it out.
Mhm.
A judge loves a personable person. When I'm judging a contest, I love to see the person next door. I don't like to see the fake person. I don't like to see a phony. If you're somebody that needs to get your point across and cry and be able to use your hands, and I can really resonate with you, and you have conviction and substance, let it out. And that's the way you can drive that interview.
I love that. One last thing I just want to ask about the questions and stuff. How about is there a trick to managing answering the question length time? Is there appropriate amount of time to answer a question? You know how I was saying I answer my questions as quickly and as full as I can, and I move on to the next. Is there an appropriate amount of time? How to manage that?
We all kind of have a natural way of knowing when enough's enough, and it's kind of consistent with on-stage question. When you're rambling, you can already feel it in your mind and in your brain, and you're going, oh my God, I need to shut up. Same thing with personal interview. You want to make sure that you poop and get off the pot, because that gives a judge another chance to ask you another question, to even see a better side of you.
Sure.
Sally Sparkles, former Miss America 13, had a great way. She always said, anything that they ask you is about this pageant in some form or fashion. It's about the pageant. So repeat to yourself, I can answer any question I can answer. I can answer any question I can answer. And it kind of tricks you into putting yourself into that Miss America seat. And so anytime you kind of repeat that to yourself, you're going to go, yep, I'm going to have an answer for this.
Mhm.
And that way you already kind of have a great pace or a length to your question.
Sure. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and talk to me and everyone watching. I know that you're a busy gal, and I think that I enjoy talking about the interview portion, just because this is the part where you set the tone for all the other categories. Because if you really are sucking the air out of the room and getting the judge's attention, they're looking forward to your other things that you have to show. So I really do appreciate you giving your tricks and such to help future contestants and current contestants to compete for the MGA system. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. And thing I wanted to touch on is there's a lot of people out there that think that you have to have interview first to set this tone for the duration of your pageant. I never liked interview first. And even though I'm pretty good at it, I never preferred it. So if you're a person that gets so wrapped up in, oh man, I didn't get interview first or this or whatever, prepared is prepared, regardless of what number you get drawn. You're there and you should execute every category, no matter what order, to the very best of your ability. I promise.
Sure. And you're talking about the Miss Gay America pageant, the national pageant, where it's 2 different days, right? Yeah. Right. Yes. Sorry, I was just getting off of my city prelim, so we were doing this. That's always in one day. But I loved it, and I loved everything you had to say, because I know that you are a gem when it comes to knowing the ins and outs, especially when it comes to speaking and getting your points across. So I thank you again so much. And what I'm going to start doing is, I would love it if it's okay with you. I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot. We always talk about the symbol of excellence, and that's what we're about in the MGA system. Would you mind sharing with us what your view of what excellence is?
Absolutely. And I like to be very literal when it comes to this. And, the Miss Gay America logo is this pretty little angel woman that looks like a harp. And I had this in an interview once, so this is why I love to talk about it. When you see the symbol of excellence, or you connect it to the excellence and what Miss Gay America is, excellence doesn't necessarily have to be the prettiest. It doesn't have to be the most talented. What excellence is, and in its how literal it is our pageant system is known for the gold symbol of excellence. And as we know, gold is the most sought after, precious, element or, thing that, the more pressure, the more heat that you put on it, the more beautiful and shiny and more lustrous that it is. So I feel that excellence is more about how a person can push on, push through, and really, when you do that, how well people resonate with your testament or your journey. I was never the most talented. I was never the prettiest. I was never the most educated. But I felt that I belonged here because I also represented such a different demographic. I came from a small town. I didn't come from big city drag, where a lot of contestants do have, like, come from big cities and big show bars. Grown from the middle of nowhere. So I always knew that there was a place for me, and that's what excellence is being not only a representation of yourself, but how well others can connect to you as a person.
I think that's fabulous. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you sharing that.
Oh, and world peace, because today is
one day that will be my question and answer. I promise you that. All right, well, I'm going to let you go. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for spending the time with me tonight. And I can't wait to see you in future endeavors.
Absolutely. Cannot wait to see you all. And best of luck, Morgan on her way to Miss Delaware, whenever it is.
September 16th, I think it is. 19th, I think it is.
Yeah, way down the road.
You'll be seeing a lot of posts. Don't worry. You'll know from my page, Morgan, when that day is going to be.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much. I love you so much. And I'll see you soon.
World peace. Bye.
You better. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I know we unfolded a lot tonight with the interview portion. This will definitely be still posted on the Miss Gay America page, where you can review it again. Kind of, if there's any points that you really liked hearing and you want to jot them down, definitely check out our page and our feed for this. If you didn't hear me and you're just joining from the middle portion of the live, I was talking about how our first prelim for Miss Gay Pennsylvania is going to be this weekend on April 28th in New Hope. I'm so excited for this prelim. It's our first and a first of 7. So definitely check out our page to see all the exciting things that we have coming up. Also on our page is the merch page too. If you want to check that out, we have some new stuff coming through, but we also currently have our t-shirts, tank tops, and our hats that just got added. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and I look forward to seeing you. I believe it is May 8th. I think it is. I think it's May 8th is going to be our next live, and that is going to be talking about gown, and that's going to be with Pandora. So definitely check it out. It's May 9th. Just kidding. Thank you.
Deadline to apply.
What's that?
Deadline to apply.
For
New Hope.
New Hope. Got it. There's the deadline. No, this is fine. This is the casual portion of the live. So if you're looking to be a contestant for the New Hope pageant, you still have an opportunity to apply. The deadline to apply is actually the day of. Registration and orientation will be happening at 10 a.m. and that is at the New Hope Winery. So come check us out if you're looking to apply. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me personally. I'd be more than happy to help navigate you through that. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining in and spending time with me. And I look to seeing you again on May 9th. Have a great evening.